is Julie Ankers, your host of Art House.
Hello, welcome back to In the Mountains. Today we are speaking with the amazing Julie Ankers, who does so much around the mountains. You might not have heard of her, but you've probably heard of something that she does. We are taping today from in the practice studio at the Blue Mountains radio station. Like I said, we plugged it a little bit last time, but for those of you who don't know, there's 89.1 FM Blue Mountains Radio. Tune in, find us on Facebook, all that kind of stuff, because community support really, truly matters. So, Julie.
Hello.
Welcome to my show.
Yes.
You are the host and creator of Art House.
I am, which is on Thursday nights at 6 o'clock. It goes from 6 to 7:30. And what it is, it's an hour and a half of showcasing the creative talent up here in the Blue Mountains. So the show is divided into segments. So they're in half-hour to, say, 40-minute segments. And we have everything from the performing arts with Maggie Davis, to photography with Jeff Davies, and then there's Fiona Davies, who also does visual dispatches, installation, you name it, we cover it, and also threads, textile arts. So what we attempt to do is to cover a lot of genres, creative genres, but and all the time there is something new presenting itself. Like, for example, tonight I'm interviewing Rowan Fox, and Rowan is a composer up here and also is a director or a conductor of the Phoenix Choir. So because it's the fifth Thursday in the month and we didn't have anything scheduled, I thought, hey, this is really good, because I normally play music that's local, and it's usually jazz, blues and variations thereof. And then I thought, no, we don't actually have classical music or choral music or whatever, so I've asked Rowan to come on tonight. So, we try to be a broad church, so to speak.
One of my favorite episodes that we did was when we had Duncan Wass on.
Oh, yes.
And we got him to read some poetry live, and it was amazing.
Fantastic.
We have some clips actually on Facebook. So I'll link the group and everything so you guys can go check it out, because that was worth listening to.
And look, it's the great thing about Art House is when we started, everybody I think there were a few skeptics out there. But now, I just remember when Jeff Davies, who is a fantastic photographer, who interviewed this wonderful woman who's a nature photographer, Meryl Watson, and we had 5,500 hits.
No way.
That was incredible.
For Blue Mountains local radio, that's right. Amazing.
And we get roughly up to 1,000 hits per week. And, we've come a long way from where we were. And that's thanks to people like yourself. And I'm starting another program that's named after my first book, which is Feisty, Fabulous and 50 Plus. And that is, I'm hoping to start that later in the year, but with COVID it's difficult with regard to getting a lot of people into the studio together. But basically it's going to be a magazine show for the over 50s. So, watch this space, it's going to be great.
You do have a fairly decent following for your books as well,
yes,
don't you?
Yes, I do, yes. Well, I've written 3 now. The first was Feisty, Fabulous and 50 Plus. The second one is called Call Me Frank, and I named it, I decided on that title because when I speak in libraries, and that's how I promote my books and online, I used to see, men sort of hanging around in the corners and sort of listening in when I was talking about the first book. And I thought, no, men need to have their own book. So that's why I compiled Call Me Frank. And the third book is called Bold, Brave and Bloody Brilliant. And it's the same format. It's a compilation of stories written by, the people who have experienced, you name it, sickness, joy, the trials of being over 60 or 70, But they're inspirational, because when you read them, you think, oh, isn't this person incredible? And it's not focused on people who are not well. It's focused just on people and how they go about their lives, making the most of each day, and that's what it's about. In fact, people call my books positive aging books. They say, look, it's when you read these books, it just makes you feel so damn good, and that's the whole point of them.
They're very inspirational.
They're inspirational. I moved up here to the mountains in 2013. And I decided that, what was I going to do? Because I'd had this business for about 27 years and I wanted to move on and do something else. So I thought, no, I'm going to write books and use the books almost as a showcase of what people can do when they're over 50. And I remember, so my first book was about all of these amazing women, and I knew a lot of them, or I think I knew most of them actually. And they were just incredible, and they were very giving and very honest about what was going on in their lives. It was just terrific. And the same with the men. Everybody said to me, oh look, you won't get much, men aren't very straightforward. Well, all the stories I received were absolutely honest, and some were quite gut-wrenching, but those stories were just fabulous. The men just responded so much to my request for them to be honest and open, and they were. What I've decided to do now that I've written, I've now got the trilogy, the 3 books. I've decided that that's what I've been involved in, developing workshops and coaching, because I've just thought, well, I've written or compiled these 3 books. So what I want to do now is some of the people who've read the books have said, Julie, the books are great, they're very inspiring, but how do I get to the next stage? How can I get out of the rut, etc., etc.? How can I become this positive person? And how can I find, what to do, how to get a job over 50? All of the issues that can often happen when you're over 50, 60 and 70. So I decided to develop these workshops. And I guess the issue that I've got is that with COVID and everything else, it's been quite difficult, because normally I promote the books through library talks, and I've travelled all over Australia doing that. And so now I've gone back to those libraries and said, look, I've also developed these workshops, but unfortunately, because of COVID, a lot of libraries aren't having public events. So that's been very inhibiting, really. And I do quite a bit on social media, as most people would know, but it's not the same.
Especially when the one thing that you give to people is like that personal connection, and you're helping them out with some very personal choices that they're trying to make for their life. Like, you're at this stage, what do you want to do?
Yes.
It's probably not as fulfilling for yourself to do it online, like through video chats.
Well, a lot of it is very personal, and I just know that not everybody wants to share everything with other people. That's why we have coaching as well. We have one-on-one coaching, and I know that when we've had very open and honest discussions, when I give my library talks, that one of the things that members of the audience love is that face-to-face, being able to share, and having lots of fun and laughing together and hearing from other women or other men. So that's what I miss too, because I love that.
When you're dealing with a demographic which is stereotypically not technologically inclined, you're asking them to make a lot of changes as well.
That's right.
Like, that's one of the reasons I've kind of focused my business on teaching people how to use the tools, not just here, I'll do it for you, but here's how you can start doing it for yourself, so they get more of a sense of accomplishment. They're still building up their skill set, and they're not, being left behind, and where people go, oh, well, you're like 70 years old now, so I shouldn't have to teach you anything. It's like, no, pass the skills on. They taught you how to use a spoon, teach them how to use Instagram.
Right. It's like don't just give people fish, show them how to fish.
Yeah, it's exactly.
And I have to say, Elizabeth's helped me, and that's when we got together. I've been in some areas a bit of a technophobe, And the joy of knowing Elizabeth is that she's helped me to, I guess, gain more confidence with some of my skills in that area, because, I mean, there's new apps, there's new technology every day of the week, it seems. And knowing which ones to go with, I mean, that's a thing in itself, isn't it? Anything that helps people of, well, the over 50s, and I'm definitely one of them, anything that helps them to progress in their lives, move forward, yeah, let's help them do that.
We have some very motivational people up here in the mountains.
Oh, look, I just love living
We
here.
need to start a new group, like Move Mountains or something like that, where we can just get all of us in one space. Can you imagine what would happen?
The energy.
We'd either get sick of ourselves, or we would literally move mountains.
I know, but there are so many people who move up to the mountains and they never want to leave, because once you move up here, you go into a most fabulous community, very supportive community. And up here, I mean, when you talk to anybody, they usually say, oh, there's about 4 or 5 things that I do.
No one ever just has one job.
No, that's right. And everybody here is very keen to cross-promote other people. It's a very giving place. And also what I love is I wake up every morning, I look out, through my bedroom window, and I just think, this is the most fantastic place to live. Why would you want to go anywhere else?
All right. Can we talk about your work with BMCAN?
Yes, we can. Well, BMCAN, I was involved with BMAN, Blue Mountains Artists Network, when I first came up here, because I'm of the opinion that to get to know a community, you have to volunteer. You have to give of yourself. Too many people move up here and I think they think that everybody will want to know them and rush to see them and whatever, and it doesn't happen. You have to, give to the community. So there was an ad in the Gazette which asked for somebody to look after marketing and promotions for BMAN. And I just moved up, so I responded. And then I had a meeting with Graham Tribe, who's the president. And one thing led to another, and I eventually ended up becoming a board member. And then I stepped down because I became president of Radio Blue Mountains and got involved in another council arts organisation. So, there could have been a bit of a conflict of interest, so I stepped back from that. And so recently, and what happened is I left BMAN after it had just changed to Blue Mountains Creative Arts Network. We'd had a strategy meeting and decided that this was the way to go. That what we wanted to do is we wanted to embrace other creative genres. We didn't just want to be about artists. I mean, we have a lot of artists as members, but we wanted to encourage writers and people from performing arts, and you name it, we wanted them to join. And so that's what we're doing at the moment. We also had CALA, the Creative Arts Leaders Awards, which we've had to defer and reformat, and that's because of COVID, etc. But anyway, so basically what happened is I approached Graham and said, look, I'm happy to come back on, because I've always had a belief that there is a place for BMCAN. The people on the board I like enormously. They're very caring people. They're smart, and I just think that I'd like to put my energy back into that, because I just think and because of Art House, there is a natural synergy there. So that's BMCAN, and they do a great job there. I know that it's been going. I mean, Graham's now been president for 10 years, and it has a really, really active committee. They have arts trails. You name it. At the moment, we're looking at maybe putting together some ideas to have a new arts trail and arts festival. There's all sorts of things that we're working on. So it's a really vibrant board, and I think their aspirations are really just fantastic. They're creative, they're spot on. I think they're well thought through, and so I'm just looking forward to my next meeting.
For those of you who want to find out more on BMCAN or the Blue Mountains Creative Arts Network, they are on Facebook. They have a public page and a group. And then they have their BMCAN website, which I think is run by Brad Dietrich,
Yeah, that's
who
right.
also is here on Radio Blue Mountains.
He does. We call him the professor, and he shows after mine, and it's called Blue Mountains Live.
There you go. So everyone is intertwined.
Well, we are. We know
But,
each other very well.
All of my interactions with BMCAN have been amazing. Like, I haven't met the board or anything, but just interacting with their Facebook groups and everything, they come across as very professional, and they're very happy to help promote and get the word out. So
and what they're wanting to do is to they're looking to find more members from different art genres. You can be an artist, you can be a writer, you can be a musician, you name it, and you can join.
Yeah.
And they're looking at how they can really, really get that moving exponentially, and what they can do to help those individuals get to the next level, or how they can support them. So that's what BMCAN's about.
Right. Well, I'll put the link down below so you guys can get involved as well, because it's definitely something worth supporting.
The thing is, even with voluntary work, that they're always what I call the sexy activities that everybody wants to get involved in, because they're high profile and they're nice to do. But there are a lot of groups up here, organisations that do need help, that maybe aren't as sexy, but working with maybe teenagers, or all you've got to do, can I tell you, all you have to do is go, like Blackheath have BANC, which is BANC, which is their community centre, and that's in Gardeners Road. So you can just look that up and look at what they offer to see if you can volunteer. But all you've got to do is just ask. Just go out there. For example, if you live in Lawson, there's lots of things happening at Lawson. And that's the other thing, the locals are so happy to share that, and if you put your hand up, I mean, Rotary up here is incredibly active. But there are so many organisations. There's the fantastic Cancer Wellness. Bronwyn Johnson does a fantastic job, and Vent, Vent Thomas. Vent looks after marketing, and they just do a superb job. And so they're always have fundraising activities, and a lot of these things are on hold because of COVID, but they probably have other things that you can assist on, or just put your name down for when the restrictions ease a little bit more. So it's just, and there's neighbourhood centres like BANC, as I've mentioned, but I mean, where do you start, where do you finish? I mean, there's so many of them. You just have to keep your eyes and ears, and all you've got to say is, look, I've just moved up here, or I really think I should volunteer. Do you have any ideas? And the thing is, the voluntary work that you want to do something that you enjoy, because otherwise like a lot of people up here are members of the RFS. One of my neighbours is involved with communications with them. So if you have talents in a certain area, you can find voluntary work that suits those talents. So don't be a stranger.
Speaking of media and all of that kind of thing, we can find you at julieanchors.com, and on Instagram you're at julieanchors.
Yes. And I also have a Facebook page, which is Julie Anchors Rights.
Thank you for watching this episode of In the Mountains. I would like to invite everyone to go onto Facebook and join our two groups. Well, one group definitely, two groups if it applies to you. There's an In the Mountains group, and that's a public group, and I'm really trying to establish a community group there that encourages small business promotion and creative and events promotion, meanwhile discussing ways to make our mountains better and kind of just introduce everyone.
Yeah, and how people can help each other. Yeah.
And it's a good place to find out when the next video is coming out. And then on the other end of that, if you want to be on this side of the camera, In the Mountains Contributors is the name of the group. So if you want to be interviewed, if you have an event, if you have a small business, if you're a creative, if you're running an initiative or a volunteer opportunity and you would like to be interviewed, go ahead and join us on Facebook. Well, thank you very much, Julie, for coming on my show. And
It's a pleasure.
and you always have like such motivation, and you spread it around to everyone. So, I mean, I'm happy to put all of these messages out.
Oh, thank you. Well, I love what I do. In fact, I think that my life now is richer than it's ever been. And I don't mean in terms of money, but what I mean is in terms of quality. I mean, that's what the Blue Mountains offers, incredible quality. So, what can I say? I just love it here.